Now, I think that there's a great importance in presence, in being fully willing to live unto the undivided integrity of what every situation calls for us to rouse, while at the same time being perfectly willing to be inadequate and yet delicate in our expression, because the reality exceeds the full delicacy of our involving expression of measure and always goads it forward. The delicacy of what the heart of unconditioned happening reconciles and resolves to its unconditioned truth, if it was given to defined and managed interactions, would not be able to have a comprehensive and unitative capacity. So I'm always given to recollection and to mind the way that, for instance, Gandhi, trying to discharge the functions of a lawyer, said he found himself absolutely inadequate to do so. That he couldn't, in other words, represent and fully advocate for the justice or truth of a situation or come to the full truth of it. And then we have to ask ourselves, if he thought he could, would have humanity been any the better, or if he had to pretend that he could? And I think the obvious answer is he and we would not have benefited from such an arrangement. Because it's only by having to come to the heart of things, to the intellectual and moral realization at the core of what gives them to their situation of cause, that we are reconciled, resolved, and advanced into integral truth. Would humanity have been better if Tolstoy would have remained a dissipated soldier, leading a dissolute life? Or was his self-doubt in such situations absolutely necessary to the moral reformation of coming to the core, or trying to tend to the core as much as he could, integrally and piously, of human truth? And so, again and again, what is often missed is that, for instance, Ralph Waldo Emerson was in the seminary and decided that he couldn't fulfill and wouldn't be comfortable fulfilling those functions. Or a Socrates, if he would have simply fulfilled the functions of sophists around him in the same way, would have we benefited to the same degree? And so even to some of the most timeless productions, for instance in the Chandogya Upanishad, the acquaintance of a son with his father, the son's gone out, he's studied all methods of respected and learning of the day, and then he comes to realize that he knows nothing and has to approach it integrally with direct presence of founding to that which is substantial from within. And so, giving dignity to the presence of what exceeds narrow capacities of expression requires that we're subtle, genuine, and do not pretend to carry a heavy hand over the delicacy and wonder and grace which exceeds narrow surfaces of life's margin, exceeding them in the same way as, in an emblematic way, we could say situations are unfurled and then taken up again by that which is their continuous and unalienated presence and purpose. And so seeing past the surface, seeing to the dimension of that which truly is and recollects at the foundation of substance and soul and presence and cause, is always central to the full engagement of our living capacity. It's not through engagement with the hollow abstractions of the scholasticism of his day that a Galileo, a Descartes, a Newton made any step in the dimension of integral realization and fulfillment that they hoped and wished to see founded. And those conditions of birth do not change, but have to be lived unto morally, seriously, integrally, presently, purposefully, every day and in every way.